I've been asked a question as to why during Sefira and in general Yomei Avelos is it not permitted to shave and take haircuts, but cutting your fingernails is permitted. We're allowed to do it. I wanted to know what is the difference between taking a trim of your nails and taking a trim of your hair. So it was well known that, everybody does it, the whole Gans Klal Yisrael does it. So just to explain a little bit, what do the Cyrus mean in general, and what do the fingernails represent, and then to understand why during Avelos is an inyan not to cut it. So the first thing is, talk about fingernails. Now Rizal has brought down that when a person wants to get rid of things that shouldn't be there on a ruchniistic basis, in other words, he wants to do tshuva or increase his kedusha. So when a person is, so to speak, getting rid of the bad stuff that's inside him, he had taivas and he had bad thoughts and things like that. So where do they go out from? So it comes out, this is what's brought down, it comes out through the two parts to the body, which is the upper half, which is considered in the Sefira relationship Chesed Gvura Tiferes, and then in the lower part is the Netzach Hoid Yisoid. So the upper part comes out through the fingernails, and the lower part comes out through the toenails. Why is it like that? Because when things need to leave the body, they go out from the lowest level. The lowest level, meaning, is like the fingernails. It's the lowest part of the upper level, and the toenails is in general the lowest part of the body itself. So that is a makom that, since those, we'll call it klippas, need to exit the guf, so it goes out through the fingers and it goes out through the toes. And if a person has long nails, so there's not enough room for all those chitzainim, klippas, to leave, and they get stuck a little bit, as you see, just like dirt gets trapped under longer fingernails. So therefore, we want a person, Ran Shloim created a din and a halacha, and everything in the Torah is for our benefit, and he doesn't want us to be stuck with extra averis inside us, or extra taivas inside us. So therefore he tells us, let's say every Erev Shabbos we should cut our nails in order that make sure that those chitzainim that are inside us have a clear exit pathway. If we let our nails grow too long, so then it blocks them from leaving, and therefore it's a detriment to us that we have all these extra things stuck inside our guf. Therefore, the easiest way to understand it is that if you don't cut your nails and they get too long, so then dirt accumulates underneath. Think of the dirt as an avera. So in order to get rid of it, you cut your nails and then everything goes away. So that's the reason why we have to cut our nails on a regular basis, in order that it shouldn't be a place of gathering of tumah, of averis, of klippas. Therefore, even during Yomei Avelos, or I would say even especially during Yomei Avelos, where the avel, whether it be from a Sefira Sa'ima or personal avel, somebody who loses a relative, so since he is under the Midas Hadin, he had a personal tragedy, or is a Klal Yisrael a tragedy, so we want to make sure to get rid of as much bad stuff as possible, that the Midah of Chesed could shine down upon us uninterrupted. And therefore we understand that why nails have to be removed in order to get rid of that. And you see a shtickle raya, that the halacha is that if somebody has to be perish mei ishtai b'shas tashmish, right? So in order to get rid of that taiva, he has to noyetz raglov in the karka, and that basically will take away yena taiva that the person is middle of having. And you see that by Yosef HaTzadik, when he was running away from Eshes Paitifar, so it was brought down that the tipas came out, bein tziparnei raglov, came out between his toes. They're showing you that the taiva leaves a person from between the extremities, meaning either the fingers or the toes, since we're talking about whether Yosef HaTzadik or is a Tashmish or Mitzvah Tashmish, whatever it is, so therefore it comes out through the lower half, and that will be through the toes. So that's on the fingernail side of things. Now let's talk about the Cyrus. Then the person obviously has Cyrus all over, even if they're not nicker Cyrus, but sometimes it's a thing called Niemen, which is like little peach fuzzes on a person. So, but going on the regular hair that's visible, so generally speaking, a person has two types of hair on his head. One is the hair on his head, and one is the hair on his beard. So the hair on his head is called Dinim Takifim, and the hair on his beard is called Yud Gimel Midas HaChesed. And the way that works out is, why is it that way? Because if you touch the hair on your head is much softer, and if you touch the hair on your beard is much thicker. So it would seem opposite, that the hair on your head should be Dina Rafia, should be a light din, because it's a soft hair, and the hair on your beard should be a hard din. Answer is that the hair on your head is coming from a place called Zayin Tikune Galgalta, which is Keneged all the Sefiras, the Lames El Yainim, all the way high up from Mechin Stimain and Avira, which is the beginning and the Sherish of the Bria, and in such a place we cannot understand anything. Therefore, the Rabbanu Shalom called it Dinim Takifin, because there is no understanding, there is no revelation, no gilui to us on that. As opposed to the hair on your beard is keneged the Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim, and if you look in the Eitz Chaim and in other places, you'll see that there are 13 places on your face which are keneged the 13 Midas Harachamim, and the hairs that grow out from each place represent a different midah of the Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim. Without going into the detail, but that's the way it is. So it represents Midas Harachamim. We see that people who are, I say you find it more by Hasidim, but you find it by other people as well, that they don't touch their beards. And the reason is because those hairs on your face are called sinoris. They're called, so to speak, like antennas that bring the chesed into you. You are a way, how do you get the chesed to be mashbiah to you? Since the makayim of the Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim is on your face, and the antennas, so to speak, is coming through the hairs. So therefore, as a mushal, we know that the longer the antenna is, the better reception it has. So therefore, we don't touch the hair on our face, on our beard, in order that they should be able to be makabel much more chesed. So the reason that's given, why does a oval not touch the hair on his face? Because since that is representing the midas hachesed that is coming into him, and a oval is under the midas hadin v'haraya, he just lost a relative. Or if it's in a Klal Yisrael thing, we know that the Zman Sefira and the Zman of the 3 weeks is considered a eis tzara for Klal Yisrael. So we all need an extra dose of chesed. So therefore, we, so to speak, let our hairs grow. And then when the hair grows, you have a longer antenna, so to speak, so you have a better opportunity to be makabel, that chesed coming down from Shemayim. Masha'enkin, if you cut them off, so you don't have as much of an opportunity, as good an opportunity to be makabel that chesed. That's the general speaking of why. So since the oval, and I should say better, since the person who is under Midas Hadin, that's the oval, Rabbi Shalom wants him to have the best. As every halacha, every mitzvah is only for the benefit of us. So by it being the benefit for us, so therefore he wants us to get more chesed, because we're under Midas Hadin, so therefore don't touch your hair. What about the Cyrus Harosh? Since the Cyrus Harosh is considered din, so I was letting it grow during that time as well. So some say that it's a loy plug. Once you're not cutting this hair, you're not going to make a chilik. The other thing is that, just as a raya ledavar, what about noshim who don't have a beard? And what about people that shave? How is it ever allowed to shave your beard? So to understand a little bit better, when Chazal talk about shaving, and certainly in Sifrei Kabbalah when they talk about it, they mostly mean the shirish of every hair. That inside your cheeks and chin, or wherever it is, there's a root of every hair, and that root has the ability to grow into longer hairs. One of the reasons why is the issa from the Torah to shave with a razor, the ways that are mutter to shave a beard with a scissor or whatever it is, not too close, but with a razor, which is very, very close to the skin, we're not allowed. And the reason would be very simple. Because since with a razor or a double-headed shaver, which shaves so close, what they call, I think they used to call it lift and cut, or whatever it is, so you're getting into the root of the hair. The root of the hair, the Torah said, no, don't touch it. Why? Again, for your benefit. Because Torah wants you to be mekabel the chesed. If you destroy the root, then that hair is gone, and you won't be able to grow more hair in that spot, and then you'll lose out and the midas chesed that's coming to you. So the Torah did you a favor and said, no, don't touch those hairs. Don't touch with a razor, because you'll ruin the Cyrus Harai. You'll ruin the tzinoris of chesed. Now, that's the Pashat Pshat in these things. Now you see that many people do shave on a regular basis. So the answer is that since they have the shirish is still inside them, the shirish of all the hairs, so it's not necessarily, you're not really taking away from the chasadim that are coming to them. Now the Ramchal and certain Gedolim from Italy especially, it was known that they did not grow beards. I'm not sure the reason, but the Pashtus is because in those countries there would have been a chash of they would be destroyed or whatever it was. The guy would get very angry and not let them have a beard. So the Ramchal had a Talmud named Rav Moshe David Vali, very well known, and he has a lot of svarim, and he brings a different approach. I'm going to read it to you. A different approach to the whole Indian of shaving during Sefira and these things. And he has a whole different. So he says like this. I'm just going to paraphrase it in English while I read it. He says this is the minig that we don't shave the beard during the Aimeh. You should know. So he says that this minig has ein lai tam ve'ein lai ikka. He says the ikka reason of not cutting hair is talking about Cyrus Harosh. Why? Because they are dinim. And therefore you don't want to cut them or mivatel them during the din, because that's a time of gvura and his pashtus hadinim. So he's talking about the hair on the head. Aval haminig shaloy legaleach and Cyrus hazaka. In this minig we don't cut the beard. Einay nimshach. It's only come mechukas hagayim shenis arvu beineim. The chukas hagayim, we got involved with them, so we want to look like them. So therefore we shave our beards. She'einam noyagim legadol eziknam. To have a beard by the goyim is a big busha, and therefore he says mistashit hamidig that therefore we consider growing the beard as a siman tsar v'tzara v'shal avelos. Since the minigin where he lived, which I guess was in Italy, because it was a Talmud Ramchal, that growing a beard is a siman that you're unkempt, and is a siman of avelos. And he says, but we know that the Cyrus Hazakin is tzinoris shal chesed, like we said. Fishahei mitzad apanim, right? Because that's on the face, that's facing frontwards. But the Cyrus Harosh, they're called tzinoris of din, because in Kabbalah is the Cyrus Harosh are Cyrus that are come back, that go over the back. So therefore, the cutting of the hair that Aval is not allowed to do during the Shloshim, he says, is only talking by Cyrus Harosh, to show that these days of Tsar and Din, and this is the Din b'mei ha'aymer also. And he says, and it doesn't mean the beard at all, only talking about Cyrus Harosh, because they were already growing it all the days, which is supposed to be the Tzinoris HaChesed you shouldn't take off. He says, V'afal pikein since most people don't shave during Avelis and Omer, so in order to make them feel good, we have to give them a tam. So therefore he says, even though he says that you should really be able to cut the beard, but since it came, the minig was spread out, so therefore, we're Klal Yisrael mantik. So therefore, just so we should have some understanding why the difference between Saris HaRosh and Saris HaZakein, and why nails, which represent the end of getting rid of all the Midas Hadin, should go away. And hopefully we'll get a clearer understanding in general, but the key point to take out from this is, and I emphasize it all the time, that any mitzvah or any minig that Chazal and the Torah gave to us is only for our benefit. It's not to make life more difficult. It's not to make you have more restrictions. Chas v'shalom. It's only that we should have an opportunity to get closer to the Rabbeinu Shalom, that we should get more schar and more schus. And even if we don't see it today, it'll be la'asid lavai. And just to add one piece, last week's parak, it spoke about, there's a quote that says, Al tisyayish min haparanius. So there's two taichin in Al tisyayish min haparanius. One taich is when a person has a tzara, so Pasha Pshat is, don't give up, Hashem is watching you. And the other Pshat is, if you see somebody who is not worthy of having all, let's say the guy became a multimillionaire and he's having the best life in the world, and you know that he's not worthy of it, so what's the Pshat? So the Rosh Hashanah says, Chazal tells us, don't give up, don't worry, he's going to get his. So the Pshat is that when a tzaddik in this world has suffering, you see people lose children, tzaddikim, yisharim, and what's the Pshat? The Pshat that is shamala asad lavai. All the tzar that they have is a kapara, and when they come upstairs, they'll go to a much higher place. And don't forget that that is a schar nitzchi, and in this world is only within a certain time frame. Right, however long a person lives, nothing lasts forever. But when you come to Asad Lavai, then it's nitzchi. So any tzaris that a person has is just a preparation for what's to come. And the same thing, if a person, you see a tzaddik, I'm not saying anything new. If you see a Rasha who's having the good life, don't worry. Either he'll get paid back in this world, or he's going to be taking away from any schar and schusim that he has in the next world.